Give me 10 minutes and I'm going to show you exactly how to scale to 102k per month with info without making it complicated, because I'm going to break down the exact journey of how we scaled Eric from 50k a month to 100k a month in 3 weeks. Now, little pinky promise. This video will make you realize how much you're overcomplicating your growth. And anyone who sees the same success or witnesses it in full transparency can realize how simple it actually is. In this video, I will relive Eric's full path to 100k a month with you, so you don't just hear about it, you experience it step by step, see how simple it really is, and come to the realization of how you can do it yourself. And it's the same realization that scaled me to 80k a month at 16 and has gotten me some of the most insane numbers that I've ever seen in business. That being said, first of all, the only thing that makes this possible is the offer and the positioning itself. This is the backbone of how we sell. If your positioning isn't correct, it doesn't matter how good your ad says, they will perform worse just because of your positioning. And when you're able to position yourself correctly in the market, it makes everything, it's the foundation for every other thing in the business. You can't build $1 million house on a 50k foundation. So the first thing is we did market research, right? So he originally had a normal agency offer. There's so much FOMO and urgency around the AI gold rush and the AI revolution and all the developments happening in AI. Everyone is talking about AI. So we realized this about the market, and that they had a lot of FOMO around AI and they wanted to get into it. And then we did some competitor research. So everyone has very broad and repetitive messaging, and they're over-promising with very little proof and data, and there's very generic AI agency offers. So what we did is we wanted to create a unique angle that closes the gap between what the market wants and what's currently there. So we reframed it as AI Growth Integrator Agency, and we have over 30 client interviews, which makes it very credible, and we can put a name like this on it. And this was what made our ads extremely profitable, because when people heard our angle, they were interested, they were curious. And this is the foundation of everything, is being able to look at your market, look at your competitors, look at the unique angles that only you can credibly claim, and create a positioning that will convert. That being said, here's how we took his offer, how we took his coaching offer and was able to scale it. And it's something called the profile funnel. Instead of using complex VSLs or a complex funnel that doesn't really work anymore, gets low show rates, doesn't get qualified people, we use a very simple Instagram profile funnel that within 5 minutes of people landing on the Instagram, they get converted into 5 to 10k buyers. This starts with running reverse ads. Now, it's called reverse ads because when people see reverse ads, they start chasing you rather than you having to chase the lead. And there's a few reasons why. Because in the ads, there's so much FOMO and urgency being installed, and we're speaking directly to people. We're speaking directly to our ICP and their situation, meaning we get qualified people who have capital, and we get people that have FOMO and urgency. Now, this is how we get a lot of targeted followers every single day, and people that are very, very committed as soon as they go in the DMs. The thing that's interesting about these ads is instead of sending it to a website where you pay like $2 to $4 per click, and they come through and it's not even qualified leads, and they're not educated, and they're not warm, and they're not showing up, and they're not closing, we send it to the Instagram profile for profile visits. So the Instagram effectively acts as a landing page, and it's more powerful than any other landing page in the world. Number one, because it's cheap to send traffic to, because IG wants you to use the algorithm. But number two, because of how powerful the nurturing mechanisms are. So we obviously have like the CTA, and we have this that takes them to a testimonial page with a bunch of results. Then we have social proof on YouTube and nurturing on YouTube, right? If they click the link in the bio, they're going to go to the YouTube, they're going to see nurturing, they're going to see social proof, they're going to be educated, change their beliefs, and they're also going to see testimonials that are undeniable, right? Then the second thing is we nurture them on Instagram itself. So the idea is people land on the profile, they're going to check out the results, they're going to check out the link in bio, they're going to see that it's legit, they're going to want to learn more, and then they follow, right? And all the people that follow are now kind of in our lead list. We can nurture them. They're like in a newsletter. We can sell to them. Every time we post content, they'll see it. We can retarget them, so we retarget everyone that visit the profile with retargeting ads, because these people are qualified and they have urgency. We can retarget them with retargeting ads to build more trust so that they become ready to take action. So we retarget them with retargeting ads, and then we use IG stories as well to convert people, where we post results and we make specific sequences. So we're able to, people land on the page, it's extremely powerful. So just like any other landing page, you have content here where you can educate, you have longer form like social proof, you have longer form like educational stuff. Like this is like the power of, you go through the YouTube, that's like watching 10 VSLs and it feels organic. People can binge through the YouTube for hours on hours. There's no way they aren't going to buy. People might not be fully convinced after a 20-minute VSL, but if they watch the YouTube for hours on hours, they watch over 30 client interviews, they're going to buy. Now this also works if you have less case studies. You'll just have to focus more on this and have to focus more on your own personal results. That being said, it's so powerful, and it has all the elements of a successful landing page. Client results, you know, it has videos where we nurture people. It has lifestyle. People see that it's legit immediately. And if they need more nurturing, then they can watch more nurturing, right? There's infinites of content for them to consume. And over time, they're going to be so much nurtured. 20% of people, within 5 minutes, they'll be in a buying state from this. So that's why we call it the 5-minute close. Because the profile funnel is so powerful that it converts clients for 5 to 10K within 5 minutes of landing on the page. So they might see the call to action, DM AIGI, they'll DM them, and we take it over to Instagram DMs. So the thing that's so powerful about this is the congruency. Everything is ran through the Instagram profile. So in the DMs, we got an absolutely amazing setter in, would average 80 to 100K cash collected a month on other B2C offers. He got in there, and from the DMs, he was having conversations. He both reached out to followers, pre-recorded voice notes, had a conversation, and then replied to all the inbound that came in. So he'll have an conversation where he just hears more about their goals, hears more about what they're struggling with, qualifies them, nurtures them, and then books in the call or actually closes in the DMs. Because this process is so powerful, you can actually just close in the DMs, because, you know, people might have watched hours of this instead of being on a 45-minute call, right? Because the entire nurturing process is so powerful. Or we'll book them in for a sales call. So either one. And then that's how we were essentially booking, you know, some days, this was just one day and we booked around 13 calls. We were booking between 5 to 15 calls per day depending on our ad spend, and we cross-passed over 100K a month. To give you an idea of how powerful this profile funnel is, let me run you through some of the numbers. So first of all, what if I told you that instead of when you send someone to a landing page, when you pay $2 to $4 per click, Instagram actually wants to keep people on their platform, so they'll give you a 10 times cheaper cost per visit. The average is 0.2 to 0.4 per visit. Then the cost per follower is super cheap as well, because it's a lower barrier to entry than being a lead, right? And people are more often on Instagram than they are checking their messages or they are checking their email. They're more often on Instagram. They have more ways to consume your content. You can't just contact them one way, but they'll see your retargeting ads, they'll see more of your content on Instagram, so they'll be more nurtured, which makes the cost per booking way lower, makes the cost per show up way lower. The show up rate will be way higher. In fact, me myself, 94% show rate. And then the actual cost per acquisition will be way lower as well. $240 to $680 per client, with a ticket of 5 to 10K means you will have insanely high ROAS. Compared to a VSL, which looks like this, it's not a natural sales process. You're forcing every single lead down the same process instead of having a funnel that, number one, it converts 20% of people within 5 minutes, and the other 80% they follow along and get converted over time. In a landing page, you're hoping for everyone to get converted at the same time, which is why the cost per booked call is way higher, and the calls, they aren't educated, they aren't qualified, there's way lower show-up rates, and the cost per acquisition becomes way higher. In fact, most people that run VSL funnels, they come to me because they aren't profitable at all and they want to switch to the profile funnel. I have some of the biggest people in the space come to me and say, hey, it isn't working anymore. The cost per click is going up, cost per lead is going up, the leads don't trust me nearly as much, they don't show up to the calls anymore, they don't reply, right? So the profile funnel is the new funnel that works, because since there's way less trust in the space, the best way to sell people, everyone has known, is content, because it builds way more trust and you build a brand over time. So what we've found is, instead of just relying on content, which is a little bit unpredictable in of itself, we can add traffic to the content with ads, and it's way cheaper, you get way more qualified people, and it's way more effective. That being said, this process didn't just work for Eric. People ask me all the time, who does the profile funnel work for? Well, it really works for coaches in many niches. I'll just give you a few examples. I've been able to scale past 80K a month. Andres, he scaled past 70K a month. So far in October, he's done about 50K. This was on the 16th, he did 45K of just under 5K in ad spend. Eric, he's obviously an AI agency coach that I just showed you, who scaled past 100K a month. George has scaled past 100K a month. Hudson has scaled past 121K a month. And Julius, who scaled past 60K a month. So it works for coaches in many, many different niches. Anxiety recovery, how to start appointment setting, how to get fit and healthy, how to scale your detailing business, how to scale as a videographer. Any coach that sells courses, information, masterminds online, the profile funnel will be the most effective way to scale. It works for people who have a skill and they want to start their coaching business. So for example, Arthur, he came to us with nothing. He had no offer, no audience, no assets, no team members, nothing. We launched from scratch, and after 1 month he collected 20K. Number 2, works for people who want to scale their info businesses. So Hudson ran one of these info businesses and was stuck between 10 to 20K a month. 4 months later, we were doing 121K a month, right? So the profile funnel, it works for anyone who wants to start or scale an info business to 50 to 200K a month. Now, there are some people that this doesn't work for. I want to be completely honest. It doesn't work for people who don't want to take any action. Because the first step to actually being able to implement this in your business so that you can scale past 50 to 200K a month, so that you can convert 5 to 10K clients in 5 minutes, the first action that you have to take is to click the link in bio, book your call directly with me, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can implement it in your business.